Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. Tonight, we are recapping the week's nerdy news from Superman to Fantastic Four and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me is Steve Howler. What's up and away, Steve?
The numbers on Superman, the projected numbers on Fantastic Four, and the sheer amount of things that Kevin Feige talked about today. Those are all up right now.
They're all up. They're all up. Superman cracked 400 million this weekend. Still doing pretty good.
Yep.
Fantastic Four is projected to open over 100 million, a little lower than Superman, but still good. I think Fantastic Four, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, but in general, I feel like Fantastic Four is probably doing the best it can in the wake of a bunch of lesser received Marvel movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's still a pretty strong showing for a studio that's had more meh than hooray lately.
Right. Which is basically the same thing we talked about when Superman dropped. Of like, hey, this is great compared to all the rest of the numbers we've seen.
Big time. Yeah.
So for the four, what I am anticipating is one of two directions. Either this is going to get the bump from Superman in the sense that people are realizing, oh yeah, we can still make a good superhero movie.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be like, well, we just saw that 2 weeks ago. So, it'll land somewhere in the middle of that pendulum, but it's still going to be a solid opening. And I think,
for sure,
you take early reviews with a grain of salt, but everything that is coming out early as a, preview copy type thing is coming out relatively positive. So
for sure. And we'll talk about that later as well. And yeah, Steve, I think you're right that it'll go, there'll be people that'll be like, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I know I just saw Superman, but I've been waiting for a great Fantastic Four movie for a long time. So there's no way I'm missing it.
Right.
There might be some other people that'll be like, oh, Fantastic Four comes out this week, but I've heard really good things about Superman. Like that Superman buzz is still out there. So people may choose to see Superman instead of Fantastic Four or see Superman again, or, you never know which way it's going to go. But like you said, I'm pretty sure Fantastic Four is going to do just fine. I'll be shocked if it doesn't. If it's a bomb or something, I'll be surprised. I don't think it'll be.
Yeah. I know at some point I need to go see Superman with my son. And I know Friday at 6, I, as of today, have tickets to go see the 4.
Ooh, so, okay. I haven't got mine yet, but I got to look. I feel like my upcoming week is jam-packed, but I need to squeeze the time in to go see Fantastic Four.
Well, if you're available Friday at 6, I'll find out where our tickets are.
Okay, I will check. This podcast, before we really get into much else, by the way, the majority of what we're talking about tonight is DC and Marvel.
Yeah. Specifically regarding a interview that started out as a Fantastic Four interview and morphed into a bunch of other things from Feige and DC, kind of the fallout from Superman launching successfully.
Fallout, hangover, spillover, whatever you want to call it. And we do have
which is hilarious because neither of us are both of us are wearing Star Wars shirts with zero connection to Star Wars this episode.
Well, you know what? Sometimes when your baby's not in the news, you gotta respect, right? You gotta wear your colors and support. Anyway, we have a one shot tonight too that's from a miscellaneous non-DC, non-Marvel thing, plus comic stuff as well. So this podcast is sponsored by Funky Town Comics and Vinyl in Camillus, New York. Check them out. If you like comic books and you like me, there's a big comic book release party coming in August for a book that I wrote called Crown of Bones. It's happening at the Palace Theater in Syracuse, New York on August 23rd. It is a live comic book release party and burlesque show. There's going to be my superhero band, the Amazing Shakes, are going to be performing. There's going to be a live reading of the book, and there's going to be a full burlesque show from burlesque performers that will be in character as characters from the comic book Crown of Bones. So please check that out. You can buy tickets on Eventbrite, or you can buy tickets at the door. Your ticket comes with a free copy of the book. Whoa, what a cool thing. Yeah. What a cool thing that we're doing. You should be there. Please be there.
Mike gets to have all that fun doing all that stuff, and I get to slave away at his table. It's
I'm sure you'll be able to stick your head in or come in and sit and watch the show.
There's probably
when
not much
things
draw
aren't
at the
being
table while the show's going on. So yeah.
There really isn't. This is the guy have sold the last two Trek Wars burlesque shows they've done for the last 2 years. You can definitely walk in and sit down while the show's going on.
Fair enough. The gist is, I believe there are a bunch of potential handouts from Funky Town for the kids, and if you come in costume, you get extra handouts.
Ooh, extra handouts.
If you're in the Syracuse area and you've got some kids,
take out a costume.
Yeah, maybe I'll wear my Chewy onesie.
I have a Chewy onesie. You want to both wear our Chewy onesies?
Oh God, that'd be hilarious.
Is it supposed to be 80 degrees tomorrow?
Of course.
Oh, then no.
Yeah, no, because that thing is ridiculously hot.
It's really warm. It's great in the wintertime.
Oh,
I love it.
I rocked
so cozy.
it. I rocked it for Halloween a couple years ago. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, it's great.
Yep.
Maybe my son should come in costume if my son wants extra handouts. Good idea. So yeah, Steve and I will be there. Our kids will be running around somewhere probably. So
we're putting Brian in charge of them.
Yeah. Not sure. Hopefully Steve and I will be able to be there the whole time, avoiding meltdowns, things like that. We'll probably be okay. But that's what we're doing. Yeah, tomorrow night at Solvay Library Comic-Con. Come check us out. What are we going to be doing? We're just going to be saying hi to people?
I think I'm going to try and have a recording rig that we can, have people answer questions that we might have or stuff like that.
That'd be great if we could get some audio from kids just talking about their favorite
superheroes. That's what I was kind of thinking.
Or anything like that. I was actually just edit it together in like a little montage. That'd be great.
Yeah, I was talking to Jesse about that today of like what we should do. And, we were both talking about doing our normal questions, but kind of in a, simplified manner. I don't think 10-year-olds are going to know the full pantheon of X-Men to choose their favorite team.
Sure.
But, hey, who's your favorite superhero? Stuff like that. Like, I think we'll be interacting with the kids quite a bit and go from there. See what the general populace is thinking at Solvay Comic-Con.
I agree. I think that's a great
also,
idea.
You get to see Brian Rowlands in full costume per the chat. So
he's bringing it.
He always brings it.
If you're a fan of this show and you've always heard us talk to and reference Brian in the chat, you can meet him in real life. Brian in the chat in real life. Whoa. Big deal for you Multiverse Report people out there.
Just need a sign to give him, says, "Hi, my name is Brian" in the chat.
Yeah, I know. For sure.
Now, if Brian and Richard meet in person, that's when universes implode.
That's like paradoxical breaking the nexus of reality kind of thing. Yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure a few seconds ago I said Multiverse Support instead of Multiverse Report. That's when people donate money to us. That's Multiverse Support.
There you go.
Multiverse Report support. Yeah.
The report support.
Anyway,
sold.
Report support. We are finally diving in to this news. So, like the DC stuff, James Gunn given tons of interviews still. The press machine, hype machine still rolling for Superman. Clearly, it just has a second weekend, pretty good second weekend. Things are going to start dying down now, but James Gunn has been doing interviews for news outlets. He's been doing, he did a lengthy interview with the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast this week. I haven't listened to the entire thing, but I've read some snippets, which we're going to talk about soon. Kind of giving updates on where things are. Now, early last week, after the big first weekend for Superman, reports came in, I think it was Variety. They reported that DC Studios was, quote, fast-tracking a Wonder Woman movie in the wake of Superman's success. Now, Gunn later clarified this online, saying that Wonder Woman is a priority, quote, but I wouldn't call that fast-tracked. Nothing will be shot until we're sure as we can be that the script is good. He also said, because there's been some casting rumors about who's going to play Wonder Woman, and one of those is, I had her name in my brain, I'm blanking on it, but the woman that played Bix, Kayleen on Andor. Andrea,
yeah,
it's a double A name, I think, isn't it?
Yep. Yep.
She's dating Jason Momoa.
Adria Arjona.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's been rumored. However, he said they're not even considering casting anyone until the script is finished. So those are probably just rumors. So don't worry about those. Although it's really good to hear that they have a Wonder Woman movie as a priority, because I know that they announced that Themyscira show
Right.
which I still think will be great. Like, I would love to see a Themyscira show in the style of Game of Thrones. Like, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Still,
And we
Um,
haven't really heard hide nor hair about that.
no, other than it's just still in development, it's
Right.
still happening. But I don't like, and that's great that represents Wonder Woman. And I think a lot of people in that initial announcement were like, okay, that's like the Wonder Woman representation. But hearing that they have an actual Wonder Woman film as a priority, I think is nothing but good news there. Also, it was reported that the studio was reportedly, quote unquote, thrilled with the script for the Batman Part 2, the upcoming, much anticipated sequel to the Batman. With Gunn responding to that on the aforementioned Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, he said, I liked it. For sure, we're headed in the right direction. There are some things we've still got to work out, but it's headed in the right direction for sure. Now, that seems a little bit less than quote unquote thrilled, which was the original report that they're thrilled with it. Again, he's positive on it, but it's not done. And that's kind of what you and I said, Steve, when they made a big deal about the script is in. Well, yeah, but the first draft of the script is in, right? Like, this isn't going to be the shooting script necessarily. As James Gunn said, they have some things to work out. What those things are, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and again, as with everything, grain of salt, all movies go through this. So it's not like this is some weird like hiccup in this pantheon. Like, every single movie goes through multiple iterations of the script. You hand in a final draft, they can accept it, but then script doctoring keeps happening. If I had to guess, I would say, not that it's a mandate, but my guess is that both DC Studios and Warner Brothers would like the Batman Part 2 to maybe be less than 3 hours long. That's all I'm saying. I mean, they probably would.
Yeah. I don't have I said, the Batman's my favorite Batman movie. I don't mind that it's 3 hours long because I love looking at it. It's a gorgeous movie.
Yeah.
But I can understand from a watchability or number of screens you can get a movie onto, like maybe cut that down a little bit less than 3 hours. Who knows? Also, other things.
The more this drags out, I was actually talking to someone down at the shop about that today. The more this Batman Part 2 thing drags out, and the farther it gets into the DCU, I'm pretty sure the more confusing this is going to be for everybody.
I agree, Steve. I agree. They have to figure out a way. I feel like they got to make a choice soon. They got to make a decision real soon.
Yeah.
What about Pattinson? And Gunn still sticking to his guns, no pun intended. That it's not going to be Pattinson. It's going to be a different Batman. It's going to be two different Batmen on screen at the same time. But I feel like, they're not going to release the Brave and the Bold or whatever the DCU incarnation of Batman is. They're not going to release that the same year that they're releasing the Batman. They're going to spread those out. You can't, because that would be confusing, and you'd be eating your own audience.
You could, if they eat their head on what they've said, and Pattinson becomes the Batman.
Well, sure.
But that is the only universe in which you do that. And even then, that seems like a really dumb move.
But the longer it takes, the longer gap in time where Batman is not in a movie, which is a big deal for Warner Brothers. Like, Warner Brothers knows that Batman is like their number one cash cow, right?
Yeah.
He's like their number one most valuable character, commodity.
Right.
So
we've said
they
it before,
want a Batman.
We'll say it again. Like, there are 3 superheroes that are guaranteed to print money. And that is the one that just had a movie last week.
Well, that wasn't even a guarantee until maybe now. I think now maybe it's a guarantee. When it comes to movies,
well, yeah,
when it comes to recognizability,
in general recognizability,
yes,
you can guarantee Superman is at least going to get eyes on it.
Yes, for sure.
Batman, and then someone who we're going to talk about later in Spider-Man.
Yep,
and those are all just they're just about guarantees. They're as close to a guarantees you can get in a comic property.
Like, I like that Warner Brothers isn't in some weird relationship like Disney and Sony is. Yes. So they have to make a Spider-Man movie or they have to make a Batman movie, because then that leads to rushed productions and scripts that aren't perfect and things like that. And
Madam Web.
Yeah.
And
I would rather wait 5 years for a Batman 2 script or for a good sequel if then it's really good. So
I still haven't seen
anyway,
Craven.
but I
do
do
need to
think they
see it.
have to make that decision and announce it sooner or later, or
Yeah.
sooner rather than later. Like, hey, guess what? It is going to be Pattinson, or it's going to be, Ryan Gosling or
Right.
whatever. Someone, make a choice, so we all know.
Yeah. Do you
So things
have
can get
any?
moving.
Do you have any potential actors that you know that you would like to see as Batman?
It's always hard for me to like fan cast because I honestly
I'm very
feel
bad
like
at it.
I feel like some of the best choices are the curveballs, the
Yeah.
Heath Ledgers.
Right.
The back in the day, even Michael Keaton was like, people were like, Mr. Mom is Batman. That's gonna be terrible. I was like,
Right.
he was great.
I mean, Pattinson, to be fair.
100% Robert Pattinson. Absolutely. And I think he crushed it. And I think, he did a lot of work after his Twilight days that kind of proved
Right.
that he could
He had
be
some
Batman
chops,
to a
yeah.
lot of people, but a lot of people like he wasn't in like number $100 million movies for a while after the Twilight saga was over. But the people that saw him in those indies that he was doing were like, oh no, he'll be a great Batman.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree. That's a great
yeah,
choice.
he and Daniel Radcliffe both had that same trajectory of like, all right, we're in these blockbusters that everyone knows our name
Yeah.
and our face from. And
Yeah.
you know what? We made our money. We're just going to go do a bunch of indie crap and then show up whenever we feel like it.
Do you think that Daniel Radcliffe, that's a name that you just dropped that made me think, will he ever join the DCU or the MCU? Would he ever play a superhero, do you think? I mean, he's certainly set financially just being
Right.
Harry Potter, but do you think someone that is like that recognizable as a character, do you think he would be interested in playing like what Blue Beetle or something,
Right. I think knowing his trajectory and what he's done, it would just have to be like some character that he just loved as a kid or something like
Right.
that, where he would just get a chance to, cameo as them or something. I don't
Or
think
it's
he'd be
like-
locked down for a long term, like, oh, you are now this character.
Right. Or it's like a big swing. Like it's a really interesting take on a character that hasn't been done before that has to
Right.
be like, it's a character that hasn't been seen and, like maybe the Ted Kord Blue Beetle, whatever.
Yep.
Or and it's got to be like a home run like director and script, I feel like, for him to but he'd be interesting. I would feel like I would like to see him in either the Marvel or DC universe. That'd be cool.
Not just as Weird Al in one of the
not just
greatest
Weird Al,
movies of all
even though,
time.
Man, 5-star film.
Yes,
5 stars.
absolutely.
Incredible.
Yeah, if anyone has not seen Weird the Al Yankovic
The Al
story,
Yankovic story,
go watch it yesterday.
Stop listening to us and go watch it. It is the funniest movie ever made. So great. I don't remember all else we were talking about, but
thinking about that, every time I hear Madonna's name, that's all I think about is that movie now.
Yeah, great.
Good.
I went to see Weird Al last week, and he
Was
played
that
an
last week?
entire.
That's awesome.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like time is flying.
Yeah.
But he has a screen that plays stuff while he's like off changing costumes and stuff. And they played an entire scene from the Al Yankovic story that was just like, I really got to watch that movie again.
Yeah.
It was so funny. So funny. We're talking about Batman, but we're done talking about Batman. What else is happening? It was announced this week that Lanterns, the HBO series about Green Lanterns, has wrapped principal photography. And it was also announced that despite the show starring Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, and also
Guy Gardner
will be included as well, Nathan Fillion, it will focus on Jon Stewart as more or less the main character. It'll be his show, more or less, which I think I kind of assumed. I don't know. Seemed like from the things that I'd read that he was being set up as kind of the lead or to be the main Green Lantern in the DCU moving forward. We'll see about that.
Have they said whether like Rayner or Joe or any of them are going to be in it?
I have not heard any of those names.
Right. The main three are the only ones that I've
Those
heard,
three, yes, are confirmed. I would love Kyle Rayner. I would love Joe Moline. I would love
which is funny
Jessica
because
Cruz.
I had no Absolute Green Lantern, funnily enough, is my first real reading of any Lantern
Right.
story.
Yeah.
Which is, as you know, any listeners of the show know that's my case with a lot of DC things at this point. Even that take on it is, I don't know, the characterizations I really enjoy.
Oh yeah, cool.
So
awesome. Yeah, no, it's a cool concept. It's a cool mythology. I know Absolute reinvents a bunch of stuff, but
right.
I was just started reading. Jeff Johns has this just monstrous, enormous run on Green Lantern that he did for DC years ago. That's like kind of heralded as like one of the best. And so I just kind of jumped in. I skipped like the origin stuff because I had read some of it before. I just kind of dove in and started reading some Green Lantern stuff this past week. It's pretty good.
Nice.
Anyway, we got to keep moving because we have tons of stuff to talk about. We got an update on Sergeant Rock. Apparently, Luca Guadagnino will no longer be directing that movie. Stepped away from it, probably because it was about to start shooting and then got
derailed.
Pulled. Yeah, and I'm sure he wants to. Yeah, doesn't want to hang around necessarily. So he's no longer attached, but it is still in development. And Gunn said that he's very excited about Sergeant Rock. So hopefully we'll get, I don't know, that at some point.
So wait, will that effectively just be like Captain America: The First Avenger for DC?
That's my guess.
Yeah,
with a little bit of GI Robot in there, hopefully. Fingers crossed for some live action GI Robot, baby.
God. That would be so great.
So great. So great. Can't wait for that.
Another plug, if you haven't watched Creature Commandos, go do that yesterday as well.
Yep. If you like Superman, you want more DCU from James Gunn, check out Creature Commandos. It is excellent. The Authority was a movie that has been kind of forgotten, but it was part of James Gunn's initial announcement when he took over for DC. Asked about the status of that. He said, it's been really rough for us. I moved. He starts saying I moved, and then he corrected and said the writer moved. But I think he means to say I moved the writer. He said, I moved. The writer moved on to another project in the DCU that I think he's really killing it right now. Didn't say what that project was that the writer's working on, but is another DCU movie, and that the Authority is more or less on the back burner for DC right now. Also got a very short update, but I guess a positive one on Swamp Thing, which was initially going to be written and directed by James Mangold. James Gunn was asked about the status of that, and he said, we talked to James the other day. No, he hasn't delivered a script. He's been distracted with his billions of movies.
Right.
But we're talking about it again, which is good. At least, right? I mean, maybe some wheels are moving on Swamp Thing.
No matter what for that is good for us in whatever means and methods that is. If he's too busy doing Dawn of the Jedi and whatever else, that is also good for us. If he's, doing that and then jumping right to Swamp Thing, that's even better.
Great. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think we've talked about that in the past, but I wouldn't be surprised if he either drops one of those projects or at least like doesn't direct one of the projects. I mean, maybe he'll like write Swamp Thing but not direct it, or he'll write Dawn of the Jedi not direct it, or vice versa. He'll hire another writer to finish Dawn of the Jedi, but he'll still direct it because he's working on Swamp Thing or whatever. Who knows? And on this mysterious sequel, non-sequel, quasi-sequel to Superman that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, he's getting asked all the time because Superman's been a big hit. Where's Superman 2? What's the status of Superman 2? And he said, like, it's not quite a sequel to Superman 2 is the next thing that he's doing. But he said, it's not a direct sequel, but that Superman is a huge part of it. Quote, Superman is very important, and it's not Batman versus Superman. But he said fans will know what it is, quote, sooner rather than later, which to me says Comic-Con.
Yeah, that screams Hall H announcement.
It's right.
Yeah.
And he's going to be there for Peacemaker. I know Peacemaker has a panel.
Yep.
I haven't looked to see if DCU has a panel.
I would assume they do. Like, you can't, especially since they don't particularly have, like, at least Marvel, if they want to drop something at D23, they can. Like, there's another outlet. For Warner Brothers, it's not like they have their own, like, Warner Brothers con.
They did. Remember those 2 years they did the DC fandom?
Yeah,
which was like an at-home con.
Yeah, that was like a function of COVID, right? For the most part.
Yeah, but I really wish they kept doing that. That was cool, man.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know. I just got to sit at my house for 4 hours and get all these cool announcements about what they're doing. Like, that was just awesome.
Oh, YouTube is now throwing tags on people. It looks like we've officially determined Brian Rowlands is the #1 fan in the chat, and Richard Westfall is #2. They both have tags now, apparently.
I mean, I got to say, Brian, you've been with us the longest, man. No offense to Richard, but Brian, you've earned that #1, my friend. Richard, you better hope Brian starts slacking. You can get that, steal that #1.
There you go.
Last piece of DC news, real quick, is that we got a teaser poster for Supergirl this week. Great time to release the teaser poster for Supergirl when everyone's hot on Superman. And pretty genius choice of tagline.
Yeah.
And I know I don't want to like spoil anything about Superman, so I won't say anything regards to that. But the tagline is Supergirl standing next to a Superman symbol with the tagline for Superman that says "Look up." That was the tagline for Superman, and somebody, maybe her, has sprayed out "up" and wrote "out," so it says "Look out."
Yeah, with her. Okay. Point of order in the chat. Richard just got the #1 tag. So.
Oh man, it's neck and neck.
Seriously, apparently it is. Yeah, and with that "Look out," it's her standing next to it in the duster from Woman of Tomorrow, with like just sucking on a 7-Eleven big gulp Slurpee thing.
Yeah, awesome.
Like,
can't wait.
It's especially after, and again, not spoiling anything for Superman, after seeing her cameo in that and the vibe that was giving off and the feeling that this poster is giving off, it has me very hopeful for what this will become. I
gotta wonder when they came up with the "Look up, look out" thing. Like that is that was genius.
Perfect.
It is so genius.
Yep.
Yeah, so perfect. All right, and moving on to some Marvel stuff now. We kind of teased at this top. I'm going to bang this out. First reactions to Fantastic Four have been very positive so far. We talked about it a little at the top. Hearing reports of stunning visuals, a really good and moving story. It's funny. There's great action in it. People saying it's one of the best things Marvel has ever made. We talked about it's tracking to open over 100 million. Kevin Feige said that it's also a, quote, "no homework required" movie. It's literally not connected to anything we've made before, which is what you and I were kind of assuming that it would be, Steve.
Yep.
And I got that confirmation from Kevin Feige. So I'll probably be able to take my son if he still wants to go and not be worried about him not knowing what's going on. So
I will always worry about my son not knowing what's going on because he has the attention span of a squirrel. But beyond that, yes, I'm with you.
That's true. So there have been a number of weeks over the last year to 2 years, Steve, where James Gunn has gotten in front of reporters and given some huge interview and dished all this information about we're doing this. This is what we want to do. We want to make it like this, blah, 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 blah. Who doesn't normally do that?
Kevin Feige.
Kevin Feige hardly ever gives interviews out, in-depth, lengthy interviews outside of Comic-Con presentations. And those aren't even interviews. Those are announcements, right?
Right. And this is, we're used to, on the flip side, James Gunn being out there throwing stuff out all over the place.
Yeah. And which is something I really liked about when he took over. I've heard him criticized for this, but I really liked that he was so forthcoming with information about, and that he still is, like, oh, the authority's going to be on the back burner and we're not doing this because the script isn't ready and stuff. Like, I really like that because
the transparency.
We went through 10 years of the DCEU just like not announcing things and just like they disappear without any explanation and what's going on. So I don't know if this is Feige taking a page from James Gunn's book or just kind of realizing like we got to get some information out there. Like, we've been slumping and Superman is kicking. So we got a big movie coming out. We got to talk some Marvel. We got to build some hype. And really, he's the one that can build that hype.
He's kind of the only one.
He's kind of the only one
getting the leads out
at this point. Yeah. Yep. And even a lot of the actors either, maybe they haven't been in a Marvel movie in a while. Like the main, like Hulk or whatever, like, we haven't seen Ruffalo in a film in like a while.
Right.
So there's no like lead character. Sorry, say that again.
He had a 3-second appearance in She-Hulk, and that's about it.
Right. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. She-Hulk. So that's kind of recently. But I feel like there's no, now that Evans is retired, Downey Jr.'s retired as Stark, at least. There's no like main through line character
Right.
of the MCU right now. So like even an actor can't give this kind of hype because they don't know what's going on because they're so secretive about what their plans are, right?
Well,
So
and their plans
Feige's the
got
one that can do it.
derailed multiple times coming out of that too. Like what
Yeah.
year? Endgame was 2018.
19.
Okay, so 2019. Coming out of that, you had Bozeman. You
Yeah.
had COVID that derailed all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
And they just kind of been spinning their wheels trying to get their footing back under them for 5 years now.
They also had a mandate from Bob Iger at Disney to, or not, maybe not Bob Iger, but whoever was Disney at the
Chapek.
time. Yeah.
The other
to make twice as much content as they had been making.
Right. Which
and he
kind of
talks about that in this interview. So he gave a long interview. I kind of pieced all this information together from like multiple sites that he was talking to this week.
But it was all like Deadline, Variety, like
Oh
legit
yeah,
outlets.
real
It was all
Collider, like actual outlets that report
THR,
actual news with actual reporting. Yeah. Anyway, apparently Marvel has plans up through the year 2032. Wow,
That's a ways.
That's a long time. That's a long time.
Which will continue as what Richard mentioned in the chat, that this is the golden age of nerd movie history. Like, there's been nothing like this.
I feel like we definitely were in a golden age of superhero movies for a while, and I feel like we're in a bit of a slump now. But I also feel like now that DC seems to be back on course, and as you'll see in this like interview with Feige, like admitting their mistakes, I think Marvel is due for like an upswing as well. Like I think we could be, you're right, Richard, like on a big upswing into like.
So is this going to be
golden age of
to put it into comic terms? Are we now in the Silver Age?
Oh man, I think you might be right. That's a good way to put it. And James Gunn has said multiple times. I heard him in an interview say it this past week, and Kevin Feige, I think, echoed it in one of the articles that I read. That there is people like to throw the term superhero fatigue around, and as James Gunn said, I don't believe in superhero fatigue. I think it's mediocre movie fatigue.
That's 100% accurate.
100% true, and Kevin Feige echoed those same statements this past week. So, in regards to the quote unquote slump or whatever that Marvel has been in, he said, quote, "We produced 50 hours of stories between 2007 and 2019. But in the 6 years since Avengers Endgame, we've had well over 100 hours of stories in half the time. That's too much. We spent 12 years working on the Infinity Saga, saying that quantity over quality is never going to happen to us. We always had more characters than we could possibly make because we weren't going to make a movie a month. Suddenly, there's a mandate to make more." And they went along with that mandate because they didn't have any other.
Because mandate implies that it's mandatory.
It's a mandate. Yeah, exactly. So some things are going to be pulling back on this reduction in production.
Yeah,
for Marvel,
which I think they learned with under the mouse umbrella. They learned with Star Wars to a degree.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Movies will be slowing down to no more than 3 per year, which used to be the standard, and only bumped up to 4, I think, after Endgame, or maybe in the lead up to Endgame. I don't remember. But 3 used to be. I remember when they announced they'd be doing 3 Marvel movies a year. I was like in heaven. I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, this is what I dreamed of, like that golden age, like we were just talking about."
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be less TV on the Marvel side. Going to be down to 1 live action show per year. And those shows will have less overlap with the films. For example, he said that like the events of Thunderbolts, which if you've seen Thunderbolts, at the end, it involves people in New York City being like taken over by a giant black thing. I'm not going to do more to spoil it, but those events that happen in New York City are not going to be referenced in something like Daredevil Born Again season 2, right? It's just not worth it. But referencing some crossover, specifically again with Daredevil Born Again,
Right.
how the Punisher is going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Still
He
excited
said,
about that.
where so fun. He said, where we have great actors playing great characters, I think it would be fun to see them in multiple places, but the output will be much less. So it's not impossible that there's going to be crossover. There's just going to be less crossover, more kind of like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was to the films, or like even the Netflix shows were to the films originally. But this reduction, this reduction has been kind of rolling out for a while, and it's what has caused shows like Ironheart and Wonder Man to be held back and sit on a shelf for some cases over a year before being completed. And Feige referenced that Wonder Man, that character is an actor, and the show apparently is in a similar style to shows like the franchise or the studio, which are kind of like behind the scenes movie making
Right.
TV shows. But now those shows have debuted already, and Wonder Man has been done for a year or whatever. And so Feige was expressing regret that now having to hold that show for so long makes it look like Marvel is following this kind of trend in shows rather than like setting a trend.
Yep.
Or being the first of a series to be like, oh, it's like behind the scenes, and it's still, no one's done that with a superhero. So I think that's still, I'm still excited to see Wonder Man just because it's like a outside the box character that I don't really care about. But
Right.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen is a great
Come on, you
actor,
didn't read
so
a ton of West Coast
why not?
Avengers as a kid?
I read some West Coast Avengers, enough that I knew who Wonder Man was, but not enough that
I
was
owned
like,
at least 2
hot damn,
issues
Wonder
of West Coast Avengers.
I also have at least 2.
Right. That's all I remember having, but
Yep. So despite this reduction and a focus on quality, their method of filmmaking is not going to change. They've gotten a lot of flack for, starting shooting before, without a finished script, or like actors have straight up come out and said, we started shooting without a finished script. I believe Evan Moss-Bachrach, who plays the Thing in Fantastic Four, said as much about the production of Fantastic Four, their most recent film.
Right.
However, Feige kind of took issue with people saying that and quoted as saying, "We've never started a movie without a full script, and I have never been satisfied with a script that we've had. I've never been satisfied with a movie that we've released." Kind of acknowledging that they do make a lot of changes. Maybe the script is quote unquote full,
Right.
but maybe it's not as good as it could be if you took a few more months to like work on it.
Mhm.
And that they do that punch up stuff during production, which in a lot of cases has worked for them. Some cases has not worked for them, but I guess that's the way they're going to keep making movies, which is different than James Gunn's creed of we're not going to greenlight a movie until the script is great.
Right.
So
now, that said, I think they may not quote unquote change the way they're making movies, but I would not be surprised if they take what's going on with more of a grain of salt and let I guess let things mature a little bit more before they greenlight something. It may be the same, they're starting with a full treatment that is like a full script, not just a full treatment, but a full script that is farther along than they would have in the past.
Yeah. Or it could just be the fact that if the output is going to be reduced in general, then it's easier for them to focus on punching up, Thor 5.
Yep.
And not Thor 5 and Black Panther 3 and the Wonder Man TV show and whatever other thing, like
there's only so many script doctors out there.
Exactly. If there's less going on, then there's more you can actually focus on.
Right. Well, and like Richard said, reshoots and changes are part of the movie making process, which
100%.
is 100% true. But
Yeah.
it seemed like to the degree that Marvel was doing it on the fly was
right.
A little over the norm.
True.
And I'm using very light words on that.
No, but I agree. And actors have come out and said, yeah, the script wasn't done, but we had to start shooting. So I don't know. He also claimed that they started pivoting away from Kang before Ant-Man 3 came out and before the Jonathan Majors stuff happened. And I do not believe that. I think that is I don't know. I can't believe that. I can't believe that. He
So
said something like we realized Kang wasn't as big a villain as Thanos, and we should be doing Doctor Doom because he's like a bigger thing. And I'm like, I
so
don't
things
know.
can
I
be
think that's
two
some face
things.
saving.
Things can be two things here.
That's true.
Because the Loki season 2 finale tied up a lot of that Kang storyline.
I guess that's
Like
true. Yeah.
what I wouldn't be surprised with is if what Kevin is saying is true, that they pivoted away from Kang and left it that they could pull him back at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
Because that did tie Kang up pretty well. Coming out of that, you know, they could continue to use him, or if they had been talking to Downey about Doom and knowing the Fantastic Four was coming and knowing Secret Wars was coming and all of this, the fact that they would probably use all of them.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
When you have Doom and Kang, use Doom and Kang.
Maybe. Yep.
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
too much of a skeptic. It just seemed like saving face. I
Oh,
don't know.
100%.
I don't know. We'll see. He was asked about Young Avengers, the long rumored Young Avengers project. Is that happening? He said, potentially. In that case, it comes down to where's the best story and where is the best strange alchemy? Who would be fun to see them with? So, potentially. Being a little cagey about that.
Yeah.
He was asked about the status of Miles Morales.
Who would be
and
perfect
where
in the Young Avengers?
Be perfect for Young Avengers. Said, where is Miles Morales? And his response was, that is nowhere. Saying that until the Spider-Verse films are completed over at Sony, quote, we've been told to stay away. So, speaking of mandates,
Right.
apparently Sony can give one to Marvel saying, don't touch our Miles Morales, which I get, totally get. You don't want to steal the, what's special about the Spider-Verse movies.
Yeah.
And there's many things special about those movies. One of the big things is that it stars Miles Morales and no other movie stars Miles Morales. So that's like what they have going for it. Also read that movie was Beyond the Spider-Verse was delayed, but only like 2 weeks or something. So not that big a story.
Yeah,
Still
that
same
was
year. It's just like later in the month.
It was like
June.
a release date thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was like June 5th to June 27th or something.
Right.
It was like,
yeah, the headline, of course, was Spider-Verse
Spider-Verse
delayed.
delayed. Yeah,
And then
exactly.
you read it and you're like, oh, it's a week. Cool.
Yeah. But I read the headline and I was like, yeah, of course it's delayed.
Right.
Of course. But then I was like, oh, just a couple weeks? Good for them.
Even better.
So here's a big one. He talked about Blade.
Right. Which
Remember Blade?
I believe last week we officially named dead.
Apparently it's not.
Yep.
He said Mahershala
minor
Ali is
details.
still attached. Mahershala still attached. But because of the aforementioned reduction in production, said Kevin Feige, said that Blade was one of the movies that was stalled. Said, quote, we didn't want to simply just put a leather outfit on him and have him start killing vampires. It had to be unique. It fell into the time when we started pulling back and saying only accept insanely great. And it wasn't insanely great at the time. We didn't feel like, as we often do, you can have a good script and make it a great script through production. We didn't feel confident that we could do that on Blade, and we didn't want to do that to Mahershala, and we didn't want to do that to us. So that makes sense.
So acknowledging that they try and take a good script and make it a great script through production.
Yeah, no, yeah, he's not.
Yeah,
he's not shying away from that criticism or that whatever.
So if they don't put this into production soon, it's not going to be Blade. It's going to have to be Son of Blade, and having Ali cast as the elder mentor or something. But
I know. So I get what he said there, but also don't we kind of just want him to be in a leather jacket killing vampires? Like, what more?
When
do we
I
want
read
from
that first
Blade?
line, that's literally it. It's like all we
I don't
want is.
I don't want anything more from Blade.
Right. You need to simply put him in a leather outfit and let him kill vampires.
Yeah. Because when did Blade 3 come out? 2005 or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
20 years ago?
Yeah.
I think it's time that we see Blade in a leather jacket killing vampires.
Yep. Blade Trinity was 2004.
Yeah. Right?
Yep.
Just do it. That's what we want. That's what we're waiting for. Okay. Anyway,
Either way.
X-Men. Asked about the X-Men. He didn't give too much, obviously, but he said that the X-Men have been a place to tell stories about young people who feel different and who feel other and who feel like they don't belong. That's the universal story of mutants, and that is where we're going.
Yeah.
So looks like we're going back to school. Looks like we're going younger, which is what you and I have talked about we would like. That would be wonderful.
And the question will be which team. The question will be all that. But he did officially confirm that it is Jake Schreier that is directing the X-Men movie.
Yes. Yep. Which is good because I feel like I read an article like 2 days before this that Jake Schreier was like dodging questions about whether or not he was directing
Right.
X-Men because I don't
Which,
think it had been officially announced. But yeah.
when they dodge that hard, it's usually like, yeah, well.
Yeah. Yeah, director of Thunderbolts will be doing X-Men. I'm fine with that because Thunderbolts was great. A little bit more about X-Men in this when he talked about Secret Wars. Apparently, Secret Wars will be a, quote, reset for the MCU. He did not say the word reboot. He said, quote, reboot is a scary word. Reboot can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Reset, singular timeline. We're thinking along those lines. X-Men is where that will happen next, meaning a recast. So I guess whatever X-Men we're going to get in Doomsday and Secret Wars will be the Fox universe, and we're not going to get new X-Men until after Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Kind of a bummer for me. I'd rather see new X-Men sooner than later, but I am not in charge of any of this stuff. However, he also said, sorry, did you have an X-Men casting thing?
No. I was thinking, I don't know if you would, it's a relatively non sequitur, but the recasting made me think, did you hear that there is a cameo from the 1994 Superman movie or Fantastic Four movie in First Steps?
Yes, I've heard all four actors that are in the very first Fantastic Four movie have.
It was never released, right?
This was never released because it was too terrible. It was deemed too bad to be released.
That just started the horrible Fantastic Four trend.
Yep. Hopefully this movie breaks it. But speaking of recasting, after Secret Wars, they said that they eventually plan to recast Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. Crazy. Saying,
and it seemed like he said that in a vein. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess finish the quote out and then we can dive into it.
Okay. He said, I mean, now, he referencing people at Amazon, said, now people are searching for a new James Bond. David Cornsweet is the new Superman. He was awesome. And that will always be the case, meaning you always got to recast. You should not be afraid of recasting, which is kind of funny for Kevin Feige to say you shouldn't be afraid of recasting when he's the one like bringing back J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson and bringing back Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, like all this, like dude, you can recast too. Like, well, you're saying this now, but
to be fair, on the J. Jonah Jameson front, it is actually impossible. I will stand on the fact that it is actually impossible to get someone better than J.K. Simmons for that role.
But you don't know that.
I know that because I know that in my brain.
but yeah, so many people 100%. Said, how could anybody be better than Jack Nicholson?
Right.
How could anybody be better than Michael Keaton as Batman? Like that's just happens all the
time.
Oh yeah. So I'm like interested. He's saying it's a reset. It's not a reboot, but it's a reset. But if it's a reset enough that we're getting a new Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, then you are setting quite a bit of your phase 1 storytelling. Right?
Yeah. I mean, at the same time,
it's kind of a reboot.
Maybe the culmination of this multiverse saga means we end up in a different Earth.
Ooh, yeah, you're right.
If we come out of Secret Wars and Doomsday and end up on, Earth 2210 or something, then there's our new through line. And that's a fresh start to whatever.
Yeah, could be. Last bit of this news. And Steve, I got to say, this made me so happy.
This was my favorite news of the week.
Yeah, I think mine too. I think probably mine too. Certainly my favorite piece of Spider-Man news that we've heard in a long time.
Yep.
When asked about Spider-Man Brand New Day, Kevin Feige had the following to say, quote, I think there's a promise at the end of No Way Home that for as sad as it is that Peter is forgotten by everyone in his life, we are seeing for the first time in the Tom Holland Spider-Man stories, him being a proper Spider-Man, him being by himself, dedicated to saving the city and dealing with, for lack of a better term, street level crime as opposed to world ending events.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank
Those
God, Kevin. He went on to
those
say,
words are what we've been waiting for as long as Peter Parker's been around. Like post Homecoming.
music
Homecoming
to
was
my
perfect,
ears.
and then it just like bring it back to that
Yep.
level.
And it kept not doing things that I wanted to do.
Yep.
So, yes, music to my ears. He said, so when you do that, you say, okay, who are the other street level characters that we've never seen him interact with? And of course, I love that the Punisher started in a Spider-Man comic. That great cover. I don't want to say too much, but Destin, I'll say too much. Destin is doing an amazing job right now on that movie, which starts shooting very soon. And he's got 8 or 9 comic covers up on his wall in his art department that he's bringing to life in this movie, which is super cool. So great.
I mean,
Street level, Punisher, hooray.
John Bernthal recreating the cover for 129 would be just amazing in all sorts of
Pretty
ways.
Cool. All sorts of ways. So that is the big, long, rambling update from Kevin Feige on the state of Marvel.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about the Spider-Man news. And a lot of that, to be honest with you.
You know what that is, though? Him actually
Steve?
talking about some of this is the first time that I've actually moved the needle on anything Marvel in a long time.
Yeah, I know. Because like they announce stuff at Comic-Con or D23 or whatever, they announce something and everyone's excited about the announcement, but then we don't hear anything for a really long time, and either it comes out and it's fine, or sometimes it comes out and it's great. And sometimes it just gets delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. Like Blade.
And historically, all the ones that I've been excited about have been bad, and all the stuff that I have had no expectations for have been good.
Yeah. I think with the exception of Guardians 3, at least for the Multiverse saga, it's been mostly that, I think. Yeah.
But like Agatha all along being one of the highlights of the phase, like
for sure.
Cool.
Thunderbolts?
Right.
I didn't expect anything out of Thunderbolts.
Yeah, of those two movies releasing this
great.
spring, you would have expected the Captain America movie to be the better one.
Yeah, and man, what a bummer that was. Have you seen that yet?
I have not. I need to. I need to find a spare minute.
Yeah, spare minute to watch a bad movie. But I'm excited to watch Thunderbolts again. I'm not sure when that comes on streaming, but I'm definitely excited to watch that again. That's a great movie. You got a comic to review this week, Steve?
I do. Do you?
I don't. Of course not.
So I stopped down today.
Someone that reviews comics
right.
on a podcast.
I was going to say, when's you every time you've been down there, you just forget to ask Jesse, and you probably do the same thing I do. Like usually, the only times I remember are the second time I'm down there that week.
Yeah.
Like if I make it down a second time, I'm like, oh yeah, I should do this instead of getting caught talking to all them for whatever reason.
Yes, that's exactly what happens to me too. So anyway, what do you got?
I actually have a Syracuse Natives comic.
Oh.
And it's not Steve Orlando.
Oh, is it me?
No, I don't. No, I have not reviewed your comic live on here. Any of your comics have not gone through my my review pantheon. However, Post Malone's Big Rig #1.
Oh my God! Wow.
So
cool. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that was happening.
From Vault Comics. It is quite an interesting tale that originally, I guess, Cliff Notes first half issue didn't really grab me at all. Second issue kind of brought some things around. It's a double issue type thing. So first chapter,
sure.
Probably a lot of setup, but didn't really move the needle for me. Second half of the book, relatively solid. It was worth the read. I'm vamping to try and come up with. I didn't check the credits page. So creation and writing credits to Post Malone. Austin Post himself, Adrian Wassel also on writing, Nathan Gooden on art, and Dershing Helmer on colors, Jim Campbell on letters. But the art is actually really cool. It's like a black and white noir with. Why are we zooming in on crazy? I have no idea why my camera zoomed in on that, but
your camera just does crazy stuff.
It does.
It's just got a mind of its own.
But in general, the standard like red highlights to highlight things. But the book starts out in the Dark Ages, where and we don't get a whole ton of anything beyond the fact that it opens with the Dark Ages, demon hordes plague Europe as hell invades Earth.
Oh.
And then it mentions the 6 petals, which are apparently offshoot of the Knights Templar. So apparently, and I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this, because a former Knight Templar prayed to have something come to save them. That thing that came to save them was a big rig with what seems to be a magical hat in it. You can see how ridiculous this sounds.
Yep. Sure does. Okay.
You can also see why the first chapter didn't particularly grab me.
Yeah. Like, what am I reading?
So,
oh, wow.
The setup, I'd assume the setup comes back into play somewhere down the line.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, there's your big rig that crashes into medieval Europe with crosses and in a church that the demons are invading.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how else to describe what went down, but the protagonist ends up meeting up with a couple of other characters that are trying to also beat back the hordes of the demons and undead. Yeah, I don't know. It I'd put it in like the 3.8 out of 5, like low 4, somewhere in there. Like enough to keep me interested in what happened. I don't know if it's enough to get me to buy number 2, but it was like it was interesting enough.
Okay.
Art was really cool. The art probably pulled it together.
The art did look really cool.
It definitely kept the letter grade up significantly.
Cool.
Especially when I gave you a number grade. That's why it kept the letter grade.
Do you think it's possibly just like a thing where a super famous person is like, I want to do a comic book. It should be about this crazy thing, and just like told people to go write it, pay people to go write it for him?
With Post Malone, I don't know. Like,
I don't know either.
This is the kid who like goes out of his way to go play Magic with random people. Like he seems in the Henry Cavill, like he's an actual nerd on top of all this.
Yeah. That's true.
That happened to become famous.
It just seemed like the premise is so crazy that like you'd have to be a famous person to get that pitch approved,
right,
by a publisher. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, that sounds
right. This week at your local comic book store, you may find the following titles, including Absolute Martian Manhunter number 5. Hell yeah. Absolute Wonder Woman number 10. Amazing Spider-Man number 8. Batman number 161. Captain Planet number 2. Doom's Division number 5. Emma Frost, the White Queen number 2. Exquisite Corpses number 3. Fantastic Four Fanfare number 3. Feral number 15. Green Arrow 26. Green Lantern 25. Iron Man 10. Jeff the Land Shark number 2. Justice League Unlimited number 9. New History of the DCU number 2. Phoenix number 13. Red Sonja Attacks Mars number 4. Runaways number 2. Space Ghost Annual number 1. Star Wars Dr. Aphra Chaos Agent number 2. Storm number 10. Superman 28. The team up that everyone has been waiting for. You know you've gone to bed every night dreaming that someday you will get a team up of the Thundercats and the Powerpuff Girls. Here it is, issue 1 this week. Vampirella, Armageddon number 1, West Coast Avengers number 9, and Wolverine 11. Boy, Thundercats and Powerpuff. Who would have thought?
That's right on the top. I might be adding that to my poll now.
it's definitely worth picking up and flipping through it.
It is
That's for sure.
Oh, I will grab it off the shelf and take a look. But that is
Yeah.
that is impressive.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know if there's anything. Oh, Exquisite Corpses, I'm grabbing.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say the Absolutes and that are what jump at me here.
Yeah. I'm getting Manhunter and Batman 1 because I don't think I've missed an issue of Hush 2, but it feels like it's been a while since an issue of Hush, the Batman Hush 2 storyline has come
Yeah.
out. So I think this is it, or I'm wrong and I missed one, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
We'll find out Wednesday.
I've heard that hasn't been quite as well received as DC was banking on.
I think it's okay so far. I think it's good so far. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah, I guess.
But it is.
But I guess it didn't hold the hype like people thought it would, or like DC thought it would.
Yeah, I mean, it's like so far the ones that I've read, I think I'm caught up. Have I read all of them? I think I see. It's been like too long between issues now. That's part of it. It's a part of the problem, but also that it's treading on some familiar territory involving Jason Todd and him being upset about not being avenged or something. But like, I don't know. I've seen that done a number of times in comics now. So,
right.
I don't know. I feel like I will like to, once it's all out, either read it in a trade or, just read all the issues again, back to back, read it as a full story. And hopefully it lands for me.
What about Space Ghost Annual #1? Are you picking that up?
Probably not. I know Space Ghost has kind of relaunched this. Like this new Space Ghost arc is like he's like a serious hero. It's not
right.
like
it's not the that's half the problem. It's not. It's more the original Space Ghost.
Right.
Versus like my brain, and I think it might just be the age we are, immediately goes to Space Ghost Coast to Coast, and that is it.
Yeah, I think this Space Ghost relaunch is for a younger generation or an older generation.
Right.
And I think where you and I are, it's almost impossible to look at that character and take him seriously.
No chance in hell.
From everything that we know.
Yeah.
Well, we got one shot to leave you wonderful people with, and that is the fact that Taika Waititi has signed on to direct a new Judge Dredd movie with a script from Drew Pearce. Drew Pearce has written The Fall Guy, a movie that I recently saw and thought was great, and Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, a movie that I also think is great. So this will be the third Judge Dredd movie ever made.
Yep.
One I haven't seen, but by all reports is really terrible.
The first one
I have seen, the first one. One I have seen and is excellent. Have you seen that Dredd movie?
No, with Carl Urban as Judge
Carl
Dredd?
Urban?
Yeah, no, but I've heard nothing but amazing things about it.
Lena Headey or Headley is Cersei from Game of Thrones. Headley is the villain in it. It's Steve. It's great. You should watch it. It's really good.
Yeah, and not just in like a campy cult classic great. Like I've heard it's a legitimately good movie.
It is legitimately great. It is a great action. It's a great action movie. Legitimately. Also speaking of Carl Urban, did you see the teaser for Mortal Kombat 2?
Yes.
I didn't put it on the rundown. I forgot, but
oh, Mortal Kombat holds such a like even the first movie. So that came out in what 96 maybe?
The original first movie. Yeah,
correct.
Yes.
So even that, like when I was a child, that was a cinematic masterpiece.
I watched it in the theater, Steve.
Same. I watched that movie way more times than I should have as a child.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was awful.
So they hit their target audience.
Yeah. Yep.
But apparently it wasn't enough to continue to. Well, they did make Annihilation, which
I also saw in the theater.
Could have been titled Abomination, but you know.
And I've watched about half of the one that came out a couple years ago. The one that this new one would be
that
sequelizing.
one I really liked.
I thought it was okay. Like I didn't finish it. Like I think the script is kind of bad, but like the effects are good. The fighting is really good, but like.
I mean, when you start with that Scorpion Sub-Zero fight, you're just like, okay.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Like, everything else is great.
And if you missed it, you could check out this teaser. Because what's his face? That's why we started talking about it. Why I'm blanking
Carl
on his
Urban.
name now. Carl Urban is playing Johnny Cage, apparently, going
Yeah.
a little bit older for Johnny Cage. And it's not a teaser for Mortal Kombat 2. It's a teaser for for sure. Who knows if it will ever happen based on other things. Star Wars, Taika Waititi has been
Right.
announced that he's doing and then not done. But I think Judge Dredd is, I mean, he's a huge character in England. He's never been like a number one player over here, but and there's been attempts. Obviously, those two movies were attempts at like bringing him to a American audience. But I don't know, with a big name like Taika, maybe this one will be the one that connects. Who knows, depending on casting and all that stuff. But problem with Judge Dredd is if you're going to do the character right, you're not going to take his mask off, which they don't do in the sequel with the one with Carl Urban.
Well, yeah, but Sylvester Stallone needed to get paid for being Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, which the fans immediately were like, "Well, you're ruining it." That's the whole thing with him. He never takes his helmet off. So, Well, so my guess is that Taika will be true to that, but also kind of weave in some wackiness and some fun and ultra violence, like he's known for the character. So, I'm down for this, and I'll be interested to see more. And with that, I think, have we said it all? Have we done it all? Is there anything else we should talk about?
We should talk about if anyone wants to get a hold of us outside of the show, they can touch base with us on the socials at the Multiverse Report. Only the ones that don't suck, please. And then feel free to toss us a long form at the Multiverse Report at gmail.com. Beyond that, like, subscribe, check us out on your podcatcher of choice or on the YouTubes. Usually we are here at 9:45 approximately on Sundays. So I think that's my normal spiel.
That's it. Check us out tomorrow at Library Comic-Con at Solvay Public Library. You can get tickets for Crown of Bones, comic book release party and burlesque show, August 23rd. Check that out on Eventbrite. And go buy some books at Funky Town Comics and Vinyl this Wednesday when new books come out. And with that, as the two suns set over the burnt corpses of Owen and Baru Lars, we say thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the multiverse.